balance and direct your sexual energy. Maybe you've seen those people throwing their sexual energy everywhere, and you don't want to be that person. You want to be open, but you're afraid you're going to do that. So this video goes into how we can open to our sexual energy while still directing it purposefully and intentionally. I'm Slutty Fox, your soul connection facilitator. So you want to be open sexually, you want to be fully expressed, but you don't want to be that person at the party that you've seen that is just spreading their sex everywhere. And they might not be having sex with everyone, but they lead with that energy and it doesn't seem appealing to you and you don't want to do that, so then hence you've held back. Or you might be that person who people have told you that you're doing this and you're wanting to know how you can direct it more powerfully, because there's nothing wrong with sharing it with everyone and spreading it everywhere. In fact, it might be a natural progression as you go from being very close to open to having this happen. I see this in my community a lot, where people come from a very suppressed religious background, and as they break free from that, then they go wild. And this is not just in their 20s, which is, it's a very safe thing to do in your 20s. When you're 45 and you have 5 kids, it's not as accepted. And so how can you move through that stage very gracefully and start learning to direct your energy in a very intentional way that's not only going to fuel yourself and your relationships, but also your projects in your life? Number one is, how does it look to throw your energy around? What am I even talking about? Well, this could look like sharing it with everyone. It could be flirting very sexually. When you speak very sexually. You're always throwing in the sexual innuendos. It's how you lead in the world was with your sex and is with that energy. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's beautiful. It's playful. And even when it's directed, you could still be that if that's who you are. But it doesn't mean that you have to be that way. When you become more intentional and directed, then instead you can be open and fully expressed with everyone. You don't have to lead with the sex part of it. And most of this is very unconscious. You don't know that you're doing it. And so, but what happens is it makes everyone else uncomfortable, especially if one of those people are married. The other person could feel very insecure that this person, man or woman, is coming at their partner with all this sexual energy, when really you're thinking, I'm just being open and free. This is just me, who I am. Because what happens when we're leading without sexual energy, overtly, we don't even know that this is happening. We're being seen as a womanizer. We're being seen as very slutty. And that's maybe not the image that you're going for when you're just very open. You know, the opposite is being very prudish and being closed with your energy. This looks like fear of sharing your body, yourself, your intimate parts. They have to jump through a lot of hoops for you to even open just a little bit to them. You hold everything very close to you. And it's actually hard for you to allow yourself to feel good. Where on the other side, they want to feel good all the time. And that's a good thing. Hence, these are progressions, and allowing yourself to go through all the stages to lead with your sexual energy because it's been suppressed maybe, and to accept where you are. But once you have gone through that stage, or if you're afraid of opening your sexual energy because you don't want that to happen to you, there are ways to still open and direct it. As you start directing that energy, what happens is you're bringing more intention into it, and you can still be open and you can still be expressed while being balanced and grounded. The first way is to just be conscious of how you show up. You can be in your sexual energy because this is your aliveness, but be conscious of who it is you're doing it to and with. For me as a woman, I've noticed that if someone has a partner, they get very uncomfortable because I'm very sexually open. So I will always direct my energy to the female first instead of the man, even though I'm more comfortable around men, generally speaking. I am now conscious of how that shows up. I won't overtly make sexual jokes if someone is feeling uncomfortable with it. And in fact, I just hold back a tiny bit and I watch and I see, and sometimes I totally will, but it's not my 100% all the time MO going there all the time. I can decide when I want to and be intentional and maybe even strategic of how I play that in. And if it's a very comfortable thing, I can see that everyone feels fine, or it doesn't really matter. I can just be myself and be free. But even though I'm never as overtly sexual as I used to be, because I don't need to be, my sexuality is held here. I'm comfortable with it. I don't have to lead with it now. Now, when I'm at a party, instead of sharing it with everyone, kissing everyone in the room, I might have done this before, I can be totally open with everyone, share my heart with everyone, be fully expressed, but I don't have to be sexual with everyone. I can pick the people who I actually feel sexually attracted to and be sexual with that person or my partner. I don't have to lead with sex. I can just lead with openness. What happens when I do this is I direct my sexual energy very intentionally to different people, different projects, different situations. And if I don't want to lead with the sexual energy, I can just lead with any other energy, because now I'm aware of what those energies are, how they look, how they feel in my body. So that's what you're going for, the awareness of what's happening around you. Part of this is knowing and acknowledging what sexual energy actually is. Yes, it's open and it's free, but seeing it as something sacred, as something super powerful, that I don't want to throw it around because of how it affects everyone else around me. And I'm not trying to protect everyone else around me necessarily, as you might think, well, that's their problem. They need to show up in a different way. And if they're uncomfortable, they need to not be around me. You might have that situation and this energy, but instead realizing the sexual energy is very powerful and can be scary for people, and you're not protecting them, you're using it as the sacred force that it is. When you're intentionally directing it into the places, people, and events and situations that you want, you can get the outcome that you desire. Instead of having it just be the shotgun approach, you're laser focusing in. So start to notice the sexual energy in yourself, how you use it, and it is just a very energetic thing. I wasn't aware that I did this as I started to open, and I had a friend just point it out. She would just say, you're leading with your sexual energy, and I didn't even know what that meant. And I just started to observe myself and how I would go through the world, and then I realized that I was and how it was impacting my life. So bring that awareness into yourself, because it might be that you need to lead more with your sexual energy. Maybe you're holding back too much. Maybe you're not opening as much as you can be. And balance is being in the middle of your comfort zone of openness and expressiveness. Sexual energy is a force. And so sometimes those people who are very expressed are a force to be reckoned with. Be conscious, be open, be free, be available. Come with all of yourself, and when you do that, it's all going to work out. The more awareness you bring into the situation, opening and leading from your heart space, this open love space, and feeling the energy here, instead of just down here, integrating it, pulling that energy up from your genitals, that sexual energy, into your heart, and directing it from your heart where you want it to go. Because sexual energy is creative energy, as we know, and when you can start pulling it up and directing it where you want it, that's using it for your benefit and the benefit of those around you. So if you want to know more about sexual energy, how to harness it, how to use it, how to open to it, how to direct it, and how to use it to fuel your life and your projects and your passion and your relationships, like and subscribe below to hear when the next one pops. I'm Slutty, your soul connection facilitator.